Hi and welcome to a reading vlog. I have been putting this off for a couple of days because I'm nervous, because today we're going to be reading The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood, the most talked about romance of the year. I cannot escape it and I need to know if I'm going to love it as much as everyone else. The thing that made me really excited to read it though is I found out that it is Reylo fanfic, which I need to know. So that's it. We're just going to be sitting here reading The Love Hypothesis. I'll give you my updates on my feelings. This is going to be a full spoiler vlog, so just be forewarned if that's something that you're concerned about. Is there anything else I know or want to say before we get started? I know that I think it's a Grump Sunshine book and enemies to lovers, I want to say? Or fake dating? Or both? I don't know. I truly don't. But we'll find out together. Let's get some music going and we can get started. Wish me luck. So one chapter down, and I do really like it. I think the humor is really good. They talked about one of the characters is Canadian and one is British, so I think it will have a good tone for the humor in it. I also like that you get both of the leads right away. My impression is that it's single POV, which is fine. It's not ideal, but I've read plenty of good romances that are single POV, but I like that they have a relationship right off the bat. But then chapter 1 goes 2 years and 11 months later. Am I getting Reylo vibes? Not really, but I like it. I'm surprised at how quickly I'm into it. Normally it takes me a while to like fully settle into a book, but I'm in it. See you in another chapter. Come here, Dancer. Hello. Another chapter down. So far so good. I really hope this guy, whatever his name is, Dr. Adam Carlson, isn't the guy, because I hate him. I hate that he's making light of sexual assault. Like that's gross. I get what he's doing, but it's gross and inappropriate. And oh, and also we have a guest now, so can't move. Guess we'll keep reading. But I really like it. Like I get it. I get it. I'm so sleepy. Maybe I won't update you every chapter from now on. How many chapters are there? How long would this video be? 22. Perfectly reasonable. I'm getting distracted by trying to figure out how this is Reylo fanfiction. What I've come up with is Olive/Ray has no family ties. It sounds like her parents died, though I do wonder if this is based on pre or post Rise of Skywalker. That makes a difference. Also, the boy's name is Adam Carlson, I want to say, which is Adam Driver. It's all coming together, but I'm gonna try to stop looking so hard because it's like distracting and not as fun. Like, I want to actually enjoy the story. I'm so glad that I like it. I was really worried because, like, I wanted to do this video. I wanted to have stuff to talk about, and yeah, I have lots of stuff to talk about. Also, is Anne Finn? Is Anne Finn or BB-8? It's not 1-to-1. Someone's got to be BB-8, right? I am now 41% of the way through the love hypothesis, and I'm still really enjoying it. But I think that it's doing a good job of bringing up some commentary, and I am also thinking about some commentary. While I know that enjoying a romance is not a reflection of your values, like, you can enjoy a bad boy even if you think he would be an awful boyfriend in real life, but I think because this started off as a Reylo fanfic, it is really interesting trying to go from evil military dictator who slaughtered a whole village to just, like, you know, he's kind of grumpy and mean sometimes. It's hard to reconcile those things, I think, because one is so over the top and not necessarily something that I would ever have to deal with. I can just think about how Adam Driver looks cute sometimes, and sure, he's like done some atrocities, but he feels bad sometimes. Whereas in this, it's harder to forgive. I know it should be the opposite, but for whatever reason, it's not. It's also brought up some interesting things around how your partner is a reflection on you. Olive is getting in trouble because her classmates are mad that her boyfriend is flunking them or being rude, and she's talking about how it is not a reflection on her, like, he's his own person. If you have a problem, take it up with him, which I really like, because I think a lot of times we conflate two partners. I know this is a very trivial example, but people will tell me that my husband should dress a certain way. And, like, that's not my problem. He can dress however he wants, and that shouldn't be a reflection on me, but sometimes it is. And while I love my husband, I would never want to work with him, not because he's a bad person or anything, just being too close to the situation or having different working styles, it's not worth that kind of stress. And I think if you work in the same setting like these two do, people will have a tendency to lump you together, and that's not fair, and I like what Olive is saying around that. However, the thing that I don't like is that Adam is being an asshole. Like, there is a level, and I fully agree that Olive is not responsible for, but Adam's behavior is not something he should be able to get away with, and in a lot of workplace settings, people who are smart are allowed to behave however they want, and that is absolutely not okay. Companies are trying, and slowly it's sort of getting better as we're going for more inclusivity and diversity. We're realizing that not just yelling all the time is a good solution. Well, Adam seems to think that it is. He says, "I'm doing my job, Olive, which is not to deliver feedback in a pleasant way or to make the department grads feel good about themselves." Which, sure, but as being a professional, you have to treat your coworkers and mentees with respect. And saying that they have to toughen up isn't a good excuse. Like, even if it's something that you had to go through, you should be responsible for making it better for the next generation. I know that this is a rant, but, you know, as a professional working woman, this is definitely something that I've had to encounter and figure out how to deal with. And not just from men, like, people who are smart and important can get away with more stuff than other people. And I think especially for students, you can really be dealt a bad hand, and it's not fair. Hopefully it's getting better. I've been out of academia for a while, but I appreciate that the book isn't letting him get away with that, I hope. On a lighter note, one of the other parts that I highlighted is when Olive is going through the ground rules for their fake dating. And she says it's standard protocol before embarking on a fake dating relationship. And Adam says, "Standard protocol? And how many times have you done this before?" And she says, "0, but I'm familiar with the trope." And I just love a little meta nod like that. I think it's very cute. Still enjoying it, still having a good time. I like all of the side characters. I think that they are a good inclusion, though I get Malcolm and Jeremy confused sometimes. I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure out where Tom fits into this. He's a friend of Adam's, and also Olive is trying to work under him. Is he Hux? I think he might be Hux, which immediately makes me very wary of him. I don't know where that's gonna go. I know I said I would stop looking for one-to-one relationships, but I can't. My brain is just doing it. Also, Malcolm is gay, so I think he is just the Finn and Poe relationship that we never got as one person. I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I really don't have any idea, but I'm hopeful. I really enjoy the lightness of the writing. I think that it's really easy to get into. It's easy to get lost in. I keep my Kindle on my bedside table, and I woke up this morning and immediately just read a chapter, so that's a very good sign.
A few moments later.
I told you I didn't trust Tom, and I was right. This was even before Holden's whole "you shouldn't trust Tom" thing. I didn't trust Tom. And now I'm right, and I'm feeling very vindicated. Wow, also sad. Also, Holden's great. This was the first like real conversation we got to have with him, and I really liked him. So now I think he and Malcolm are going to be the Finn and Poe relationship that we never got. I also haven't mentioned how much I enjoyed the banter in this. Their relationship is very cute and sarcastic, and in a way that makes sense whether they don't really know each other, and the more that they get to know each other, it all works. The other thing that I really like about this, and I think it's mostly just because of the romances that I've been reading recently, is that there's not so much sexual tension as there is emotional tension. Most of what they're feeling is like, I think I like him, do you think that he likes me? And I don't know, I just think that's sort of refreshing. Maybe I've been reading more sex scenes in romances recently, but I'm enjoying the slower progression and the establishment as true friends, first and foremost. Because I think even if they do have feelings for each other, this is just sort of a natural progression of their time together and not anyone tricking anyone into anything, though I do think that Adam knows that Olive is the girl from the bathroom in the prologue. That has come back into play. Other things that I liked from this last section, Olive asks who could possibly be into Adam, and Malcolm replies, everyone. He's a tall, broody, sullen hunk with a genius IQ. Everyone likes tall, broody, sullen hunks with genius IQs. Which is very true. There's a whole bunch of talk in here about whether to stay in academia or go into industry, which I think is very interesting because it's not as much of a thing outside of the sciences, that you sort of have the choice of worlds. I just think it's interesting. But Anne was saying that she wants to stay and become a professor. I'll be miserable for sure, but it's the only way to create a good environment for women like us. Give some competition to all these entitled white men. Which I like. Anne is great. It's just unfortunate that she has to do that. And then another little meta nod. They are going to a conference and Olive has agreed to stay with Adam, and she's like, there's gonna be only one bed. I've seen enough rom-coms. I know they say there are gonna be two beds, but there's gonna be only one bed. And then they show up at the place and there are actually two beds. And she says, take that, you stupid rom-coms. She may have fallen for the dude she'd begun to fake date like some born yesterday fool, but at least she wouldn't be sharing a bed with him anytime soon. I like it. It's very clear that Ali Hazelwood is a romance fan, and I like that. I like seeing that she enjoys what she does. I really like it, and I like that he's grumpy, but he is kind and sweet for her, and I don't know, I'm just excited about where the relationship is going. I don't know why this has been such a highly regarded romance this year. Like, I'm not saying it's not good, but I've read lots of good romances that don't get the hype that this does. If you happen to know, then please educate me. I just think it's interesting how things circulate. Like, I assume this is a word of mouth thing. I don't know if it was fully fanfic before. Like, is this another 50 Shades scenario? I don't know. I just think it's interesting.
Say hello to my little friend. Oh, okay.
It's just been really cold today, so I'm gonna crawl into bed and get some pages read. Will I be able to finish it tonight? Technically I can. I don't have that much left, but I don't know if I'm going to. I have a weird thing about finishing a book right before bed because I need time to contemplate it or something, so I might cut myself off.
Why are you so mad at me?
I remembered more things I wanted to say. We're doing a good job of talking about Adam's previous advisor, who was kind of a dick. Sorry, I can't. Look at his face. Look at him. What a mess. Anyway, Adam was talking about his advisor, who was kind of a dick to him when he was in school, and that maybe he has carried on some of those characteristics, which I like because that's what I said about just because you went through it doesn't mean someone else has to. I am smart. Secondly, before this reading session, I was looking up Allie Hazelwood just to see if this was a debut or not, and it looks like it is. But during that expedition, I found that there's another version of this book that's just called Chapter 16 from Adam's POV. And I'm on Chapter 15. And so whatever happens in Chapter 16, there's also another version from Adam. I'm assuming it's going to be a sex scene. Like, how can it not be? It's the right time. It's the right atmosphere. I think it's going to happen. I was also thinking about how this compares to Sally Thorne, 99% Mine. That was the one. A book that I hated, and I'm thinking if the sex scene happens during Chapter 16, that will be about the 70% mark, which is the same spot in 99% Mine. But here, I think it works because we've been building a long time an emotional connection, not just a sexual connection. And in 99% Mine, they were just like horny all the time, constantly egging each other on and like talking about how hot they were and accidentally getting naked a bunch of times. So it felt weird to wait that long in that book, but in here all the pacing feels very natural. So Chapter 16, I'm right. I'm still in the middle of it, but I found probably my most hated term that I've ever read during a sex scene, where Adam says, "You're edible." I hate it. 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 Okay, so Chapter 16 was just the sex scene, which was fine. It was very interesting because it sounds like Olive is, I don't actually know the term for it. I will put the term on the screen once I figure it out, but it's where you are not sexually attracted to someone until you have a relationship with them. And some interesting discussion around that, around like, I don't know, the awkwardness of sex and communicating through it. It was well done, I think. But now we are on to the third act, miscommunication, which you know I love. I love that it happens in every single book and that I can't get away from it. But this one I think is good. I think it is well justified. So basically Tom is the worst and she doesn't want to tell Adam that Tom basically said that her research was worthless and was expecting that she would just sleep with him because that's what she does. He's gross and I hate him, but she knows that Tom and Adam are friends and that they have a good professional career and she's trying to protect him, and so she's keeping that from him. And I think that is a very interesting angle to come at it from, something that I haven't really seen before, I don't think. I'm sure they'll still get together, but if we have to do a miscommunication, I'm glad that there's at least some more thought and effort put into it. I've only got about 60 pages left and it's not even 8:30, so I am going to finish it tonight. So I will probably just update you when that happens. Just kidding, I'm back and I have more things to say. I like that it seems like Allie Hazelwood is a scientist. The way that she speaks about it sounds like she's very knowledgeable or very good at lying because I don't know anything about the sciences. And I really appreciate like people bringing what they know into their stories. Secondly, another meta nod where they're finally admitting to Anne what they did, and she says, "This is a Hallmark movie or a poorly written young adult novel that will not sell well," which I think is cute, and especially considering that this book sold extremely well. Good morning, it is the next day. I did finish the book last night, but didn't update you. I wanted some time to think about it and figure out how I feel but it was really good. I enjoyed the ending. It's a very standard rom-com, but I had a really good time reading it and I flew through it. The only thing is that I didn't cry, and I cried like at the drop of a hat, though I don't think this was trying to make me cry, so maybe it gets a pass for that. But you know, crying always elevates the reading experience. The only thing that I really had a problem with was that Adam is sort of seen as justified in the way that he treats his students, and that really bothered me. Like, he had a whole monologue about how like he's not going to change for blah blah blah, and that it's not personal, which is such a stupid thing. I always think of You've Got Mail.
It wasn't personal.
What is that supposed to be? I'm so sick of that. All that means is that it wasn't personal to you, but it was personal to me. It's personal to a lot of people. I mean, what is so wrong with being personal anyway?
Nothing.
Because whatever else anything is, it ought to begin by being personal.
Exactly. Thank you, Adam. Oh, but I think you're supposed to understand that he is slowly softening, so fine. The other thing that I don't love, but it is very common in romance, so someone must love it, is the idea of they have secretly been in love with you the whole time. And so it turns out Adam remembered who Olive was from the bathroom meeting 3 years ago and has been obsessed with her ever since. And that's weird. They'd literally never spoken until the start of this book, and I don't like that. That's super creepy to me. But again, someone must love it. It's just not me, and I know a lot of books do that. I realized that I think that a really good read-alike title for this is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is definitely a more fun book, and you know, it doesn't take place in academia, it involves travel and stuff, but I think the banter is really similar. It's also single POV, which I don't read in most romances, so maybe that's why this comes to mind. And just sort of the approach to the relationship and the humor, and I don't know, I feel like this is a better version of The Love Hypothesis, though much more fluffy and doesn't talk about all of the academia stuff that I did really appreciate in The Love Hypothesis. All of that to say, I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I'm struggling with the quality of the book versus my personal enjoyment, and it is kind of hard to separate those two. There were little things in the writing, like scenes didn't end where I thought they should, just a little bit of clunkiness that way, but I had a great time reading it. I flew through it. I was able to get lost in it and just have a great time reading, which I think is why I read so much romance, is because they're so quick to get through and so engaging. And this book did both of those things extremely well. So then it's 5 stars. Of course, there are little things that I would like changed, but I think that's true in almost every book that I read, so I'm being chill about it. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. I had full intentions to do more than just sit around the house and read, but I ended up finishing it in 2 days, so my bad. Let me know your thoughts on The Love Hypothesis, if there are any books sort of similar to it that you think that I would enjoy. That's it for me. I will see you in my next one. Bye.